Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. You got Mike Marshall here with Brent Slava.
That's me.
Brent is head of our news desk here at Benzinga. I am part of the product and sales team. What we're going to do today is just tell you guys a little bit about how to set up for swing trades, talk a little bit about time horizons, and take a little bit of a lesson from Brent here about Analyst Ratings.
Yeah.
So first of all,
look, Mike, I want to just say, I just want to point back there, everyone, that is the news desk too.
Nice.
And
yes.
our fancy Benzinga TV stage that we got there.
Yes, absolutely.
Kind of cool.
Live down here at the Detroit headquarters.
That's right.
So what you guys are seeing on your screen right here is the register page. And if you guys have not, you guys can fill out your name here and email address to get some login credentials. Since I already have them, I'm just going to go ahead and hit login. What you guys want to do is just type in these URLs if you need to register or sign up.
pro.benzinga/login.
And I did drop that into the chat as well. So, this webinar is for you guys. We want to make sure you guys are, getting out of it what you guys were hoping for. So make sure to let us know and drop in any questions into the chat. And we'll make sure to tailor this a little bit for you guys specifically.
We're eating questions for lunch, for dinner tonight, Mike.
Num, num, num. All right, so now that we are logged in here, this is what your screen looks like. I'm going to go ahead and take a couple zooms in.
Zoom that right on.
I'm going to turn off this bottom ticker bar. Before I do that, I'm going to show them a quick little feature here. If we were to type in a ticker symbol, you'll notice that ticker will appear down here on the bottom.
Ooh.
So we can kind of customize the tickers on the bottom of the platform, for your liking. But I'm just going to turn those off. I would go to settings here, ticker bar. While we're in settings, I'm going to show you guys a few other things that we have. Here are some headline themes. So what we'll see with that is they'll be indicated right here. So if we wanted to add a few of them, what we could do is go here to the news feed. Brent, what should we highlight here?
Okay, so me personally, I use my Benzinga Pro feed all day for research. I love to have a source highlighted a different color than some of the other headlines that are coming through. If you don't mess with any of this stuff, your headlines are just going to come in with the default background. One thing that I like to do is set Benzinga Pro as a source a different color. So do that real quick. He's going to click that, and you can click this little box here, and you can kind of mess around with the color, pick your favorite color. Purple is my favorite color, so make it purple for me.
All right, just
thanks,
for you.
Mike. And so what is Benzinga Signals? Real quick. So Benzinga Signals is the automated solution on Benzinga Pro. All the headlines that you're going to see that you've seen so far, Mike just clicked off of Benzinga Signals and turned on Benzinga Wire. All the headlines that are coming in with the wire code BZ Wire is a hand-typed out, hand-curated, potentially aggregated headline that a reporter is typing out. If you see Benzinga Signals, that is the automated solution. We have an organic system that we've constructed, that we've built, and it is watching most of the stocks in the stock market a few times a second. It's watching for things like unusual price action, notable options trades, big block trades, trading halts, and is there one I'm forgetting about? Which one am I forgetting about?
Spiking
up higher or lower. 52-week high low, I think, is the one I was maybe thinking about. And so when you do see in the case here, actually turn back on Benzinga Wire real quick, Mike. So you can see there's a lot of headlines mixed in here with one purple headline. You can be confident when you have Benzinga Signals on, you can be confident that Bed Bath & Beyond, that ticker BBBY, moved 3.1% within the last 5 minutes, like exactly. There's another Benzinga Signals where we're highlighting dramatic price movement. That's a smaller time scale than even 5 minutes. That might be a matter of a few seconds to 3 minutes. When you see one of those, you better believe that that price action just happened. There's absolutely no delay on this automated feed Same thing for like trading halts. If you see a trading halt fire on the Benzinga signals and it's a stock that you own, you better believe that stock was halted literally the last second. This thing is very quick. And again, the difference is you're going to automated solution versus something that a Benzinga News Desk reporter has to type out.
Excellent. And what we're seeing up here are some notifications. So if you guys are ever kind of wondering, you know, if there's any new feature updates or anything like that, that will be the little one or red ball right up here by the BZ. You just click on the BZ and it shows you what's new, and then it's gone. So Brent,
Yes.
you know, let's go ahead and get started with some time horizons.
Okay.
You know, I hear the term day trader, swing trader, you know, and an investor. You know, I guess as far as, you know, just a very high level overview,
Okay.
Could you kind of just explain to me what those are?
Okay, so a time horizon is basically the duration that a trader could be in a trade or an investment. Let's start on one side of the spectrum. That would be very near-term spectrum. A day trader is somebody that is in a trade for potentially a matter of seconds to up to 1 day. Most of the time, a day trader is not going to go home with an investment, meaning they are not going to go to bed while they have a stock in their portfolio. The idea there is it's a lot of risk. Who knows what could happen overnight if there's some kind of geopolitical scare or you know, some kind of natural disaster, heaven forbid, that will impact a stock or the stock market. That's just a little too much risk for a day trader. They want to you know, end their risk at the end of the day. They want to have a fresh start the next day. Swing trader, which we're going to talk a little more about in just a few minutes, is somebody who may go home with a stock overnight. They may hold a position in their portfolio for 2 days. They may hold it up to a week. A swing trader could hold a position over a weekend. As I said, for a day trader holding a stock overnight, if you're a swing trader holding a position over the weekend, you're adding even more risk, or at least that's what a swing trader or a day trader would say. You know, there are potentially 2 days in a weekend where more geopolitical things could happen, and again, you're just kind of adding on some more risk. The other end of the spectrum would be an investor. And an investor is going to be somebody who is going to hold a stock for a matter of a couple weeks to a month to potentially 10 years, like Warren Buffett. And do we got a question, Mike?
Looks like we got a couple. Can you guys hear us okay out there? If so, please raise your hand. And I do see that we have, you know, Kevin says that he cannot hear us. And then Manuel, if you want to go ahead and take Manuel's question, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can figure out what's going on here.
Okay, awesome. So if you guys can hear us, again, if you guys can hear us, please raise some hands on the webinar so we know to keep continuing, just because we have, looks like a little audio concern. So Mitchell can hear us. Thanks, Mitchell, for that. Let's see, checking to see if you can hear us.
Well, I'll assume that they can because of the hand raise.
How about this? How about we try this? If you can't hear us, wait, that wouldn't. Okay, so Manuela has a good question here. He is saying, and whose options? Manuela, I am not quite understanding your question here. You're saying, to make it a hit now, I need news on stocks with weekly options. I don't care about monthly options much. And whose options ask it tries more. Okay, so maybe kind of circling back around to what's happening in signals really quickly. Options activity is being flagged in Benzinga signals. This is an automated solution for you to note notable option activity or unusual option activity. Mike is filtered here by Benzinga signals, and he's using a keyword search to see only the option alerts. So Manuel, if you're looking for only weekly options activity, what you can do here is you can look for a number. Look for a number that is not in the middle of a month. this is kind of the best recommendation I can give you in using the interface this way. So, for example, let's run down the list of this really quick. So, United Rentals option alert. We have a UAL option alert. Looking at that July 21st figure, this is meaning that there is a monthly contract which is expiring on July 21st. If you see a number that is not in the middle of the month, like the 17th or 18th or 20th, it's probably going to be a weekly contract. So for example, THC option alert, it is at 3:08. Mike's going to highlight it here in just a sec. When you see an option alert like this, where it looks like that option might be expiring at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month or maybe in the second week of a month, it's probably going to be a weekly contract. So I hope that was helpful, sir. Let us know if we can do anything else there, Mike, and I think we can keep talking about our investment horizon, our time horizon. So gave a really quick overview there of what day trading is, what swing trading is, and what an investor is. And let's kind of like dive in, and we were just kind of talking you through those. We want to give you some examples here of how you can use in Benzinga Pro to do things like spot a potential swing trade opportunity.
Great. So I guess what we could do is probably just identify a few stocks.
Cool. That's perfect.
With the Benzinga Pro platform, what would be a good way for a swing trader to maybe find a stock to hop into?
Awesome. So what we want to do, a top thing that we want to do with Benzinga Pro is we want to find you new ideas. We want to get you items on stocks that you're already covering, stocks that you're already invested in, or a stock that you're maybe interested in. But there's a million stocks out there. We want to give you some new opportunities on stuff you might be able to trade. So why don't we use a relatively new feature on Benzinga Pro? It's our screener. So the little left-hand panel that Mike just clicked on over here on the left-hand side is what we call widgets. So you have a bunch of these widgets here. You have your newsfeed widget, you have a calendar. We're going to get into that a little bit later.
Yep.
Let's start with the screener here. So Mike clicked on screener.
Right here.
You can click right there on the main screen, or you can click over on that left widget button. So what you're looking at here is a very basic screener. Right now it's focused on market cap and price action. We're going to be expanding this pretty soon here. There's going to be some cool other features. You can also sort by sector, actually. If you only want to look at tech stocks or you only want to look at healthcare stocks, you can do that here.
So kind of, when thinking about trade ideas, kind of, my thought would be, where you might understand the market or the sector the best.
That is honestly a really, really good piece of advice. If you're a new investor, if you're an old investor, if you're an experienced investor, a really good spot to start is the stuff that you're most familiar with. To, dive into a pharma company where sort of little about the product, or a technology company where it's, a lot of complex microprocessors and that kind of stuff, it might just be a little crazy. So honestly, I would recommend starting from a sector that you know. So let's ignore the sector for right now, though. Let's just go all sectors. Let's say you are a swing trader who is, so let's keep the time horizon short here. You just clicked over to 24 hours for a sec, Mike. Why don't we just keep it on over the last 15 or 30 minutes?
Okay.
Your time horizon as a swing trader will be pretty short like that. So let's limit by market cap. Let's say you are a swing trader who doesn't want to trade any of the huge stocks. An Apple is sort of too big for you. Why don't we try a range of 10 billion at the upper bound? And why don't we get rid of some of those nano and micro cap stocks and grab that market cap and slide the bottom bound, slide it up to 300 million. Yep. So right now we're limiting stocks that had a price move in the 300 million to 10 billion market cap. And why don't we limit the price move? So let's try limiting it by, on the lower bound, let's say $5. So slide that slider up to $5. So what we're seeing now is market cap stocks between 300 million and 10 billion, moving between 5 and as many dollars as we can think of. So why don't you narrow this? So Mike clicked on the little pop-down menu, and you see a lot more stocks. Now on the screener screen, you can sort by how you want to. You can sort alphabetical if you want to. You can sort.
Is that where you wanted me to go?
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yep. So You can sort by name, you can sort alphabetical, you can sort by, I would recommend sorting by percentage change. So right now we're looking at in this screen that we chose between 300 million and 10 billion, Penn, Virginia was the top mover today. It was down about 6%. So let's say you never seen or heard of Penn, Virginia before. Now you're at least letting it start your research. And that is a tip that I would give a lot of people that are just starting to use the Benzinga Pro platform is we're not necessarily trying to give our users a buy or sell recommendation. We want to give you as much resource as we can so that you can make your own decision, you can do your own research, and you can feel comfortable about it.
Great. And so what I did was I just opened up the news feed here as well. So what I like to do, or a thought that I like to think about is just turning on my press releases, my SEC filings, keep my signals, and keep my wire on while I'm doing a little research. And I can just go ahead and type in ticker symbol PVAC, hit enter, and kind of see what type of news or information is out there for me to start making some decisions on if this is a stock I would be interested in getting involved in.
And so what Mike did when he turned on those other two sources, he turned on press releases and he turned on SEC filings, it's probably what you think it's going to be. It's going to be you turn on press release capability, meaning Benzinga has licenses from the top 4 or 5 press release firms out there. We get all of the press releases that are hitting on all the companies that are publicly traded and many more, and we can kind of do what we do with them. We can offer them to our clients. If you are a really kind of deep user of Benzinga Pro and you understand the news flow and you understand, you know, your stock, you want to probably look at the press releases so you can pull out some of your own information. If you aren't quite there, that's fine. That's what the Benzinga Pro news desk reporters are for, because we know how to look at press releases. We know what the important stuff is. We'll pull out all the important information from a press release and we'll put it into a nice headline format. Same thing can be said about the SEC filings. When Mike turned on and hit that SEC filter, he also sort of opened the floodgates into all of the SEC filings that are hitting the SEC's Edgar site. And this is there's probably more SEC filings than there are press releases in a given day. So if you want to turn on press releases, if you want to turn on SEC filings, it is a good idea if you're sort of a deep user and you kind of know this stuff. If you're not totally familiar with it, you're going to probably be overwhelmed. There's going to be a ton of stuff there that you have to dig through. It's probably not hugely advisable if you're not too familiar with that stuff.
Yep, a great point there, Brent. And so you know, that's just one way to use the Benzinga tools to kind of decide on which type of stocks you want to jump into or get involved in. One other thing I wanted to say and touch on was that this screener, like we said, this is the very first
iteration.
Yep, release of it. And you know, so keep the feedback coming. Let us know how you guys would like, or how you guys are currently using your current screeners or scanners, and you know, we'll put our development team to work on them.
Sweet.
So you know, besides, you know, say we have a few stocks that we like to get in and out of and kind of get involved in, what are some things that a swing trader should do or kind of be mindful of in order to make sure that they're taking advantage of the platform as well as having you know, enough information?
Okay, so how I'm thinking about this is, I think what we just kind of showed everyone there, I would say you're sort of, you know, you're trying to get some new ideas, but you're going to be probably mostly reacting to stuff. You're going to be seeing news that probably already happened. We do have headlines which say things like, this upcoming event could move a stock. We do that. But for the most part, it's stuff that is happening after the fact. You can trade on this stuff, but you know, it's a really cool like research tool. Something where you can get ahead of some of the events, you can find using our calendar widget, and you can see it there in the middle of the screen. You can click it right here, or you can use that left widget bar with all the widgets. And what happens when you click the calendar? So Mike's going to click the calendar, and our default calendar is the earnings calendar. Earnings are a company's upcoming quarterly results over the last quarter. Benzing Pro here is showing you stuff that you're going to find in the news feed in a more visual manner. You can tell just by looking at this, it's really easy to see what the earnings per share figure was, easy to see what the revenue number was, and how a lot of users use our calendar is a way to get ahead of some of the news. This stuff was here for the last couple of days. So let's say you are a Bed Bath & Beyond shareholder and you want to know what's coming up with the company in the next couple of weeks. You can click over to the calendar. You can see, okay, our earnings date for Q3 is going to be June 22nd. They're going to report their results after the close. What Mike is moused over here, what he's hovering over, and there's a little cursor that's highlighting it, is already filled in because this company just reported, I think like 30 minutes ago or so. So our data team has already put the information in there. Same thing with that revenue column over there. Mouse over to that 2.7, there it is. So that was what the company actually reported for their last quarter, for their Q1. I think I misspoke before and said Q3. This is actually Q1 for Bed Bath & Beyond. But if this was happening before these results were released, like if you were looking at this table in the morning time for today, the estimates are going to be filled out so you get an idea where the company should report. You would have saw, if you were looking at Bed Bath & Beyond on the calendar, you would have saw that the company was expected to report about 66 cents on sales of about 2.8 billion. They actually reported 58 cents on sales of about 2.74 billion. That was a miss. They did not hit expectations that were set prior to this company reporting. Mike, let's see what the company, what the stock do after the close today. And so what Mike did there is he clicked on the ticker, and this page that popped up over here on the right-hand side is called our details page. It's going to show you things like a chart. It's going to show you, it's going to compile some of the news items here. It's going to show you some basic ratios. You can see your PE ratio if you scroll down a little bit. Like you can see a more advanced chart. You can see the income statement. You can see the balance sheet. So scroll back up real quick to the top. And what you can actually see here is that quote that you see right next to the company name is actually the stock's after hours price action. So shares of Bed Bath & Beyond from the close at 4 p.m. today are actually down about 8.5%, and you actually just seen the price tick lower live as we're doing this right now here, right live. So, kind of going back to the calendar, I was explaining how the company missed expectations. You see the stock lower. That's generally what's going to happen.
Excellent. And I think that this is about all the data points that we have, but a way that you can kind of add, it looks like we do have some more, add some more information to any of these screens on the calendars. You can do so by just right-clicking right here and hitting the tool panel button to add that or to remove it. So yeah, like one thing I was interrupting you with is like you were saying, we do have projected dates. If you wanted to see all of next week's earnings, you could do so by single clicking for the start of it and then double clicking to release it, and then you'll see all of the announcement dates, whether it started with Monday to Friday. So moving forward, Brent, what else do we need to know about? I think we were going to get over here to Analyst Ratings.
Yeah, real quick though, I just wanted to say that this is only one of our calendars. We click the drop down real quick, Mike. So if you mouse over and you click on where it says earnings, these are all the calendars we have, not just earnings. We have, a schedule of upcoming dividends. We have a schedule of upcoming economic data points, which are going to be impacting things more broadly, like futures trading or like commodities trading. You have your upcoming IPOs, you have your retail sales. The one that you just mentioned, and I was like trying to kind of segue there, you see? Nice, is Analyst Ratings, and that's this one that Mike just clicked on. And, we're sort of switching gears here. We were kind of going over time horizons. We were kind of going over swing trading a little bit. We're sort of going to switch gears here because this is a topic that we get a ton of questions on. It's something that a few users out there who are fans of the webinar have suggested, so we kind of thought we needed to fit it into this webinar. And so, Mike, I know something that I've heard you get a lot of questions on, and I know me personally I get a lot of questions on, is where are your recommendations? Benzinga is a new service. Where can, on the platform, where can I understand where I should buy and sell stock?
Yep.
Well, Benzinga doesn't do that. We don't do that. We're not analysts. We're not necessarily hugely familiar with a company like, I'm just looking up here, like Wix.com. I'm a news expert. I'm not necessarily an expert on Wix.com. So I'm not, you wouldn't want a recommendation from me anyway. But I have some good connections in the sell side world, in the analyst world. These are the people you want to listen to. These are the people, this Wedbush analyst who is covering Wix.com, ticker WIX, they are working very closely with the companies. They're making channel checks. They are out there taking surveys with users of Wix.com. They're really, really, really tuned into the pulse of whatever Wix.com does. Obviously, it's some kind of internet site. So really quickly, we wanted to kind of go into exactly what analyst ratings are and why they're important. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. So,
once again,
ask a couple questions.
Just to reiterate, you won't find on our news feed, you won't find anywhere any buy-sell advice from anyone at Benzinga Pro. So no one is going to be positioning the news or the headlines in a favorable manner to try and sway
you to buy or sell a stock, right?
Absolutely. The only buy and sell advice or information you can find is going to be on our analyst ratings from these
firms right here. Yep,
absolutely.
Exactly.
And so if I am someone who takes analyst ratings to kind of a higher standard,
yeah,
what would be just the very first thing that you would suggest that I would look at?
Okay, so what's happening here is basically how the sell side works. So let's say you have a broker. Let's say you use your broker to buy or sell a stock. Your broker might pitch you on a stock. Your broker, she might say, this company, Spark Energy. We have some good information on Spark Energy. We have one of the top analysts covering Spark Energy. We want you to buy it. We think you should be buying it. We think it's going to be beneficial if you own it here. And you kind of go, well, how do I know that you have done this research? Well, this is how it works. There is a team of researchers at all of these firms that you're seeing right here, and I'm kind of like mousing over them right now. They are doing all this research. They're making estimates. They're making models about how much they think a company is going to earn for their quarter, for their fiscal year, etc. They're basing some analysis off of how investors are currently valuing a company like that. It's called a multiple, and they're attaching that to their earnings model, and they're coming to some kind of per share value. Let's find one really quick over here. It's a price target. So let's say on Wix.com, this Wedbush analyst is suggesting that the stock could go to $86 probably over the next year. I would guess that this analyst time horizon is about a year. That's pretty standard. From there, depends where the stock's trading. That's how they get to their recommendation of buy, hold, or sell. So, for example, for most firms, it's about 15 to 20%. If an analyst comes out with a model that says the stock could go to 86 bucks, and the stock is trading about 15 to 20% below that, they're probably going to give a buy rating. If an analyst comes out with a price target that is about where the stock is currently trading, they're probably going to give a neutral rating. If an analyst comes out with a price target which says this stock probably is going to drop about 20% over the next year or 6 months, they're probably going to give a sell rating. So this is just a really quick kind of like rundown of how this stuff works. From there, the research arm talks to the brokers, and then the broker talks to you and says, this is where I think you should be in a sector. You should be buying these stocks. You should be selling these stocks. That's kind of the full cycle of how it works. So when a firm needs a new analyst to cover a stock, in the calendar that we're looking at right here, both Wix and Starbucks, these top two entries are probably new analysts who are covering Wix and Starbucks. How I know that is the action column right here. It's telling me initiates coverage. And what does initiates mean? It means that there was no analyst at the firm that was covering that name previously. They're beginning coverage of Starbucks. They're initiating their coverage of Wix.com. They have to make a new recommendation and they have to make a new price target. And in the case of Wix and Starbucks, they're both the equivalent of a buy rating. On the calendar, we're showing you some kind of nice little green highlighting here. It's supposed to indicate that they're bullish on it. There is a huge range of price targets, of recommendations. We're going to get into that in just a sec. I really quickly want to just touch on an upgrade and a downgrade. So if we're starting from initiation of coverage, at certain times, a firm can decide to improve their recommendation, that's an upgrade, or decrease their recommendation, and that's a downgrade. And so you see it's kind of moving along the scale. How it goes is most firms will have 3 recommendations. They'll have the equivalent of a buy, they'll have the equivalent of a holder and neutral, or they have the equivalent of a sell rating. And why I'm saying equivalent is because not all of the firms have a buy, that terminology, buy, sell, hold. Some firms, as you can see here, like Starbucks or Wix, they have an overweight, they have an outperform. And so what that means is they're gauging the recommendation off of a benchmark. Most of the time it's the S&P 500. For Starbucks, for this KeyBank analyst who's now covering Starbucks, that analyst thinks that if you hold shares of Starbucks, probably over the next year, you're probably going to do better than the S&P 500 is. They want you to be overweight in your position on Starbucks. They want you to have more exposure than you do to the broader general market. What did you think about that, Mike?
I thought that was awesome. That was a great way to describe it. And so one thing that I was thinking of, so Wix or Starbucks could have coverage on them already from a different analyst in different firm. Okay. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yep. So that's where this column, the analyst column, kind of comes into. That's where, that right now there's over 100 firms on the street who are making these kind of recommendations. And like, why should you listen to them? Well, there's a lot of kind of debate about some of the potential conflict of interest that some of these firms have. It's something that we hear a lot of times. People are upset because, Goldman upgraded or downgraded a stock. That's fine. I wouldn't necessarily consider that too much, because whether you like it or not, whether you think that Goldman has a conflict of interest, they move a stock. They're almost always going to move a stock. When they have a recommendation, it's almost always going to impact the name. If you really don't believe in some of the recommendations that these firms are given, then I would recommend personally at least listening to some of their research. Like I said before, they're doing very deep analysis on this stuff, much deeper analysis than I could ever do, and they really do know their stuff. So if you don't necessarily want to listen to their buy or sell recommendations, that's fine. However, they're doing some awesome fundamental analysis. You can look into some of these research reports and you can really understand where an analyst is coming from, as far as where their earnings per share are going to go, other important metrics like sales, like EBITDA, like gross margins, etc. So just to reiterate one more time, analyst ratings are important because they will most definitely move a stock, even if it's a small boutique firm like Stevens & Co. or Johnson Rice. Those are kind of some smaller names. They're probably going to impact the stock when you see a rating. And there's one little aspect, we're kind of getting a little long here, Mike, but there's one more aspect I did want to highlight, and that is a lot of times this research is done overnight while you're probably sleeping. So for most days on Wall Street, analyst research is something a lot of times that kicks the day off. It's really some of the first information that you can get from a pretty high level source out there.
Excellent. And then we did have a question coming in.
Great question.
And so, yeah, like Brent just alluded to, like 6 a.m., these things are starting to come out, and a great way to start your day out and start to have some, trade ideas. So, Dan, as you see here.
Thanks for the question, Dan.
Yeah. As you can see here in the top right corner, whether you're on any of these, we'll just stay on analyst ratings, but I could just go ahead and and insert my watch list right here. And I'm only going to be seeing information pertinent to my watch list.
So will you actually show really quick how you can import the watch list,
Yep.
like make the watch list yourself? And
Boom.
we'll just kind of make a little mock one.
Yep. So to make things really easy, what I'm going to do is just open up a new workspace up here.
Sweet.
I could rename it if I wanted. I'm not going to. So if I did not have a watch list, this would just be blank right here. And I would just hit this plus sign in the top right corner. I would name a watch list. So Dan, thanks for the question. Create the watch list. Now I see my name for the watch list. If I wanted to rename it, I could do so. Hit update, renaming. Now I would just start typing in my tickers. You have to hit enter after each ticker that you type, or you could import it through the import settings, and I can show you that. So after you hit enter after each ticker, you hit enter one more time or double tap enter, and your watch list will load up right here. If I wanted to remove Facebook, I would right click
Anywhere in the row there?
Yep,
Okay.
and I see some other options right here as well. I could export the watch list if I wanted and do some other things. So quickly, that's kind of quickly how you load up a watch list. You see a couple other questions are coming in.
So see, Mike's reading through a couple questions here.
And so can you have a column, analyst rating?
Do you have a column in the analyst rating screener that shows the current stock price? That's a good question. Doesn't look like it right now, but that is some really good, that's a really good piece of feedback there, Manuel, so appreciated.
Absolutely.
Sir. That is definitely something that we can make our developers known. Was at least one request here by a person on the webinar, and we can probably get that in there and at least have it so it's an option.
Yep. So you could turn it on. One
Yep.
way you could quickly check out the price though is by clicking on that ticker, and you're able to take a deeper dive into that security right there by just clicking on the ticker. It will split your screen in half. You'll have your price right up here. If you wanted to add that to your watch list, you could also do so. So try to make this very user friendly. And then as you hover over these points, so of course I turned this off for some reason. If I wanted to see, at 422, what would that be? 15.
It's 1622.
Okay, so yeah, you could like hover over there to see exactly when the analyst rating hit and what happened to the stock. So I guess during the trading day we could check this one out.
Yeah, and I think you don't actually have to like click over there. If you have two widgets open already, you got your list over here on the right. You can just, in the right pane there, you can just type in the ticker, and you never have to close that window over there, and you can just update the price right there. So just try, I know it's not exactly what you're looking for there, Manuel, but good tip. We can definitely put that on our radar for our developers.
Excellent. Brent, we have taken up a little more time than we wanted to of you guys, so sorry about that. But I think we did cover pretty much everything we were hoping to cover today, did we not?
I think, yeah, and then some, even, I would say.
Excellent. Next week we'll be having another webinar, same time, next Thursday, 5 o'clock. I'm sure you guys will be getting some emails about them. If you guys do have some questions or suggestions on some topics, I'm gonna drop in my email to the chat here.
Mike.
Oh, looks like we had some other questions coming in.
Oh, what'd you do? You missed them.
So
Dean says this is way too much info to digest in a 30-minute webinar. It is. I'm sorry, Dean, but there's a lot of information. If you actually want to digest this stuff a little bit more, we are going to do a Benzinga.com article to kind of correlate with this information that we're showing you. So if you did want to hear more on like the analyst rating section, tune into your Benzinga.com feed. In the next couple days, probably tomorrow, we're going to publish something which is kind of going over all this stuff in some worded format, so it might be a little bit easier for you to digest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have one other suggestion to add to a calendar.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
Looks like a product launch announcement.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
We're gonna save that question. That is a great one.
That's an amazing idea.
Not that, Manuel, you had some great ones as well. And really appreciate it, guys. Thank